Hi, this is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about the best way to find a fulfilling, well-paying position. And I'm a firm believer that you can have both of these aspects within your job, both being fulfilling and well-paying. To me, they're not mutually exclusive. I see it happen all the time with our clients, with other coaches' clients. I mean, this is not, it's very possible. It is absolutely very possible. You do have to believe it's possible. If you don't believe it's possible, you might as well shut off the video now, because you have to believe it's possible. And I'm going to give you the 5 steps in which you have to do that. So, assuming you believe it's possible, let's jump in. So, the first step to landing a great job that is both fulfilling and well-paying is you need to really get quiet and sit with to figure out what you want to do. What makes you happy? Think about what makes you happy. Think about your career. What projects were you happiest at? What projects do you never want to do again? Cross those off the list. Do not put those on your list. You may have to remove those from your resume possibly, or downplay them if they were big. But make sure that you are somewhat clear at the minimum, if not very clear, on what you want. Because you really can't embark on this process of the job search where you're definitively looking for the job unless you know what job you want. Now, if you're not sure of that then falls under more of an exploratory job search, which is a whole nother discussion and video. And you should just kind of fast forward to the end of this to learn how to get on our calendar so we can talk to you about an exploratory interview search or exploratory job search. But for now, we want you to know that if you know what you want, you're going to be able to go and get it by following these next 4 steps. So make sure you have an idea of what you want. That's the key. You have to start with the end in mind. So with that said, the second step is to think about the companies that would need what you do. And that can be within industries that you've worked in. It can be within competitors that you've been up against. It can be within residual organizations like vendors or clients. It can be completely new industries that you've never worked in before, but maybe you have an interest in or a passion for or a hobby within. So whatever it is that you do, whether it's finance or marketing or HR or technology or sales, in a leadership role, think about the companies that would need what you do. And then the third step is what companies on that list really resonate with you, would really jump out at you as where you're like, I want to go do what I do here. See which ones really jump out at you. Be honest with yourself. If they don't jump out at you, don't put them on the list. Don't fear that you're going to have no organizations on the list. You will have organizations on the list. So look at the list as you do research and look for organizations that need someone who does what you do. Does that company jump out at you? Does it speak to your heart, to your head, to your soul? Is it some place that you're going to be excited to get up and go to work at every day, either virtually or in person or in a hybrid mode, right? So these are the things you kind of need to get a little quiet with and just really analyze how it feels inside when you think about being at this organization. And this is before you've made a phone call. This is before you've sent an email. This is before you've done any outreach, right? So this is really the research part of it. Once you've identified what you want, companies that need what you do, and then whittle that list down to the companies that really speak to your heart and your head and your soul when they come up in conversation or that you see them appearing on your list. The next thing is do some research. Who would be your possible person that you would report to if you worked at that company? Now, obviously, if it's a massive company, this can be a little bit of a harder task than not, but the key is to get close, to try to get close. And you may need to talk to more people. And that's where you're going to start to do some outreach, right? Start reaching out to people that would be your potential boss or close to it. and start doing some research around who that would be if it's a bigger organization and not so clear. And try to go directly to that person. I learned how to do this using a book. This is a long time ago, and there's clearly some more training around it nowadays, but there's a book called Selling to Veto, Very Important Top Officer. And it's actually, despite being a couple of decades old, it is still very evergreen, still very, very relevant. And a lot of what I bleed into what we do and with more modern tactics, obviously, because it wasn't so much social media and internet access back then, but conceptually using those tactics in a modern day format with our own tactics and training, this is what we do. It's reaching out to people. And that to me is one of the most underrated aspects of LinkedIn. It's not so much the content and the posting and the commenting, and don't get me wrong, that stuff's important based on whatever your goals are. But for those of us job seeking, and I say us because, I'm in it with you guys, it's really about who you're connecting with and who you're setting up conversations with and then who you're conversing with. So especially I think at the mid-level and senior level, it's conversations, it's finding the connection. That's where the meaningfulness or the fulfilling part of a job really starts to take place, when you find people that you identify with based on conversations, based on research, and you see the research be in alignment with what you hear in a conversation, and have it be corroborated with other conversations that you have. That to me is where you really start to find, like, okay, this place is my place. These people are my people. And, as much as we want interview processes to be short and quick and decisive, it's like dating, and that leads to marriage, right? Like if somebody asked you on the first date, like, hey, let's get married, you might think they're a little nuts. So like, same thing with job searching. Like, let the process take what it needs to take for you to find the place where you are most fulfilled at, where you are going to have the most meaning at your work. And they value you. They value what you do, because that's where the well-paying part comes in. And that sometimes takes a little bit of time. And it's okay if it does take a little bit of time. When it doesn't take a little bit of time, when it does take a little bit of time, that's great, but an actual little bit of time. But if it takes longer than expected, sometimes it's inefficient recruiting processes and it's a red flag. And other times it might just be what everybody needs to figure out that it's the right place for you. So that's number 4. And then number 5 is, design your marketing around who you are trying to attract, who you're trying to appeal to. So of those companies that speak to you where you want to work, that you've identified where you want to work, and now you're reaching out to the hiring managers, the individuals who might be your boss, who might be part of a dotted line relationship to you, if you were to work there, what do they need to see? And make sure, obviously, that is in alignment with what you want to do. But what do they want to see? And make sure that you are cherry picking the achievements that you want to do and continue to do, and have that outlined in your profile, in your resume. If they need cover letters, that it's in your cover letters, and then in your interview talking points when you actually get on the phone with them, either in an exploratory interview or for an actual opening. So make sure you have all of that marketing collateral, both written and verbal, in alignment with what you want to do every day. Now, that may mean, that achievement that you're so proud of that you did like 3, 4, 5 years ago, maybe even last year, but God, oh my goodness, you never want to do it again. That one, you may have to downplay it possibly, or even remove it from your resume and your profile. It might be something you talk about on an interview, but if you're constantly getting bombarded with jobs from recruiters that are jobs that you don't want to do anymore, you really got to look at your marketing, because most likely you have it in there somewhere and you're attracting that. So again, look at who you are going to be targeting. Look at who you will be speaking with, who needs to evaluate you to see if you should be right for that company, and what do they need to see. And make sure, again, you're picking the recent relevant achievements that you want to do in your next job and put those on your marketing collateral, because that's how you attract what you want to do, which means it's going to be meaningful, it's going to be fulfilling. And then when you're showing your value by speaking about it in achievement-like manners, you're going to then be well paid for it. So this is a process. And if it's something that you're unsure how to do yourself, then I'm just going to suggest you scoot down below there into the description, into the bottom of the post, and just schedule a call with us. Let's talk about how we can help you. Let's talk about what you'll need from us to have this done for you. It's that simple. We're either going to be able to help you or we're going to tell you we can't. And that's as simple as it is. So go ahead. If you feel like this resonated with you, schedule a call down below. If you know of somebody who's struggling with this and is going to need our help, make sure you share the video with them. I would be honored and grateful that you did that. If you like the video, I'm going to ask you to like it. If you have any questions below, feel free to, if you have any questions, post them below or email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com. I read and reply to every comment and every email to the best of my ability. And make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss next week's video. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take good care.